Shocks and Analyst Desk. It is my favorite time of the day to find out who's making a statement in the Fantasy League. And I hope you guys have H2K's Ryu on your roster, because he racked up 13 kills and a whole ton of points.
Whew, that is a lot of points. Right at the end of the day, he snags himself that MVP. I think the performance we just saw speaks for itself for Ryu. Great performance on Jace this week.
Definitely the case. Coming into it, we actually thought it was going to be Pepe Nero, but as we said, it was Ryu that snuck it. So points are fine and all, but in the big leagues, it's play that matters. And we've chosen 5 OP pros that we wanted to highlight as this week's. Let's kick it off with the man who almost won Fantasy. It is Pepe Nero. He dealt 51% of his team's damage over the 2 games as Ezreal, and that Runeglaive worked out.
Yeah, it worked out really well for the Giants. And they were the only team to run it this week. That was one of the biggest surprises for us, expecting after all of the buzz on social media and solo queue, Pepe Nero the only one gutsy enough, perhaps you would say. Long time scaling on the game and on that Ezreal.
Whopper, that hurts. Next up, the man who did just pick up a win, playing a lot of Jinx, it's Hyanin. 13, 5, and 12, playing Jinx, and strong words from Crepo, saying he feels he's probably the only AD carry that's making Jinx work with the help of the team.
Well, it's basically the truth, pretty much. When you look at H2K's play, the ability for them to shred through the Baron, shred through turrets in the game that we just saw. Absolutely insane performance by Hyanin, and whoop, here we go, gets it all the way across the map. Great snipes there from Hyanin.
Definitely the case. Somebody else who was also laying up some snipes was Betsy, 2-0 as Jace, stepping up on ranged poke champions. We not really see him do particularly into his style. 89% kill participation.
And this is the second week running we've had Betsy up on this screen for the OP5. So a really good setup here for Betsy. Looks to be improving week on week, as the Gambit lineup seem to, be improving themselves. We had Forgiven talking, they'll get better as a unit, they'll fall as a unit, and they certainly seem to be going from strength to strength.
Of all the teams in the bottom 7, it's Gambit you feel the ones performing, and this is another man as to why. According to Huni, the number 2 top laner in Europe, an average CS difference at 10 of plus 13 this week. Cabochard is truly one of the top lane carries.
Truly, and one of the, I would say, best split-pushing top laners as well. Huni had a lot of praise for Cabochard, and there's a lot to be said about that CS difference. He'll take it whether it's in a 1v1 in lane, whether he's split-pushing, or in some tricky situations as 1v2
Certainly the case. He gets the help of Diamond procs in certain situations, helps him get rolling when he plays Fizz, but well played. Now, the next man who did go 1-1 this week, he had an unbreakable shield most of the time, was of course Hylissang. He played Braum, broke him out to try and counter the Jace poke. 689 damage taken per minute. That is the highest of all supports. That's a pretty beefy dude.
I wish we had a counter for just how many shock blasts he intercepted, because I guess with Independence Day tomorrow, he had to, partake in the great American tradition of baseball, standing out over in the field, just catching Peke his attempts at home runs.
Yeah, he's gonna have to call in Will Smith and see if he can stop the alien invasion. Now, across the entire week, there is one player that stood out even more than the 5 we've just listed, dealing the most damage per minute of all AD carries. It is, of course, Fnatic's Reckless. He is our Week 6 MVP, and is there a better Kalista?
Right now in Europe, I would say no. Honestly, I have to say that Fnatic yesterday, their win was so much to do with Reckless digging deep, and just, I honestly think it's maybe the first time this split we've seen Reckless playing to how much hype Reckless had coming into this. Really impressive performance when you look at it. 15, 4, and 12, 6.75 KDA in week 6. Absolutely great performance from Reckless.
When he needs to carry, he can. And that's something that Fnatic needed. Anyways, Week 6 MVP, that's it wrapped up. We're going to head back over to our analysts, as well as Shocks, to wrap up the day.
Hey, I can do a little bit of analyzing sometimes. For instance, best Kalista, but it's banned all the time, so maybe there's some there hiding in the bushes that might be better. But Reckless completely deserved, and a lot of times people, when he was coming back in Fnatic, said, how aggressive will he be in some games? Yesterday, he just carried it.
To be fair, if your coach gets his hands on Kalista 2 times in a row, he deserves the MVP for the week, in my opinion.
That's true.
It's the thing when you play against Fnatic, though. I mean, yeah, Kalista is one ban you need to consider. There's like 10, 12 other picks as well.
For Huni?
For Huni alone. So, I mean, yeah, you might have to ban away the Kalista, but then we just talk about how Huni gets MVP on Echo or something, and it's the same deal.
Yeah, definitely also nice hearing from there after that win. Well, while the European LCS is going on cooldown for now, we'll be back next Thursday at 6 p.m. Central European Time, 9 a.m. Pacific, as the Copenhagen Wolves line up against the Unicorns of Love. We there have also Rocket versus Elements and Origin versus Giants. And of course, on Friday, we'll have our game of the week between Fnatic and Origin in a preview of what could be our marquee matchup and maybe in playoffs as well. We have Fnatic H2K on Thursday as well to warm us up for all of that. So things are really, well, getting into a prime position for the biggest matchups here.
I think next week we'll completely confirm whether Fnatic is going 18-0 to split or not.
Yeah.
And also if Origin and H2K learned anything from the last time they played, because a lot of action in the early game, but it felt like Fnatic were in control both games. We're going to have to see what they can do now. Origin looked good today. I mean, adapted to the meta. H2K got a 2-0 as well, but there's no room for mistakes when you face Fnatic.
Yeah, Pekka also said, it's in the numbers. If they haven't lost until then, statistically, they have to lose.
Yeah, I actually checked with our stats guy Spellsy, and Pekka was wrong. I'm sorry, all Origin fans out there, but that doesn't mean it's true.
Maybe it will work out that way. We will see. Well, until then, you'll have to get your LCS fix over in North America as the NALCS picks up with a clash between Team Impulse and Enemy Esports. The full TDK roster will face Team Solo Mid, and Cloud9 will take a game off Team Liquid. Super interesting matchup anyway, but now especially with the change coming in.
Such a big change. Media's, of course, not playing. Highs coming in out of retirement. Former mid laner. He's a former jungler, but I think we have to go like 2 or 3 years back for that. And I really want to see what they can do. If the shot calling is such a big deal for them that it can be enough, but Liquid is looking pretty strong as well.
I actually remember playing against High, now that you mentioned it, like literally 4 years or 3 years ago where he played at an MLG, and he was such a confident player. He had such a big mouth when it came to jungling, so we banned him out. We banned 3 of his champions, and that's all he could play at the time. Oh, hopefully he has expanded his champion pool in the jungle since then.
We'll see if that shot calling comes to help out Cloud9. And it all starts on Saturday at 9 p.m. Central European Time, and that is noon Pacific. That does it for us here in Berlin, for myself and the entire European LCS team. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, and remember, wards save lives.